Welcome, fellow Dynast. My name is Sherman, and today I'm bringing you a Let's Play of Medieval Dynasty. Medieval Dynasty is a medieval era city builder and village management with some survival and RPG aspects sprinkled in. Now we're going to go ahead and do a new game. I'm going to go ahead and do the default settings. If you are new to the game, the learning curve can be a little rough. So I would suggest possibly bringing up your length of season days to around 5 to 7. That'll help you kind of get your bearings a little bit while the seasons are going and give you a little more time to get things accomplished. Alright guys, now I highly suggest you give the intro video, I did a watch, I did skip it just in the interest of time. But it is a fantastic intro video, and it gives you a good amount of background to explain what's going on. Now, as we spawn in here, a lot of times you will find an overturned cart here. It seems in this playthrough, it has not spawned. It'll have a nice sickle, a copper sickle, and a hat generally. And it's a really good... You're going to need it early on. So it's a good starter item. Will save you a little coin when you get going. Now, the developers of this game are constantly putting in updates. All the birds that you've seen here, you can actually hunt them, and they are brand new to the game as of the most recent update. And they look really good. They look really good. They've also done some quality of life updates, constantly fixing things, taking suggestions. For instance, they recently changed the way building is done. I'll go in a little more detail about how that's changed later, but it's a big improvement. So the first thing we're going to do, of course, is follow our quest here on the right hand side, top right there, and we're going to talk to the Castellan. Castellan's basically the person who runs the area, and Unigos, our friend here, is going to be a main integral part in a lot of the quests, and we pay our taxes to him every year. So it's good to know where this guy is. Make sure you remember what city he's in. Now, I went ahead and clicked through the quest very quickly. The dialogue is actually really funny in a lot of situations, so I highly suggest reading the quest if you haven't before. It'll give you some background, of course, as quests do, but it throws in a lot of humor. The devs have done really good with that. Take a quick look at the map here. This is Gustovia. We're going to need to go to Gustovia quite a bit. Like I said, you're going to be paying your taxes there every year. And a lot of your main quests are going to involve Gustovia. So I want to start my place somewhat close to Gustovia, since I'll be running back and forth. But I also don't want to be too far away from all the other towns. So generally, I like to build kind of in this area over here. It gives me this bridge to access to get across very easy. And other than going out to these couple of cities, everything's very close in proximity. You're kind of good central spot here. Now, of course, that's up to you. You can build anywhere you want to. Don't let me stop you. There are some really nice areas on the map to build some really scenic areas. You may want to be closer to one of the mines that you'll need later. Now, as we run along this path, we're going to be looking for different things that will spawn in. They are random spawns. You'll find things like overturned carts, barrels, camps, all sorts of things that will spawn in that'll give you some decent items. You're also going to find a lot of hunting zones for different animals. In the early game, you want to be careful of wolves, bears. They will attack you, and they can be fairly decently hard in early game to take down, for sure, especially bears. Now, here's that bridge I was talking about. that we can cross over. A lot of times next to these bridges, you'll get barrels and sack spawns, and I don't see one right now. I haven't even seen a cart. A lot of times there'll be a cart along this path. I haven't even seen that. Looks like the RNG is not happy with us on this playthrough, but that's okay. We're gonna be fine. I'll show you how to get situated and handle all that. So the quest wants us to gather 2 stones and 10 sticks. Grab a stone there. A couple more sticks. Alright. So now that we have that, it's going to teach us about tree cutting there. And we're going to make a stone axe. Now what we're doing right now is we're doing a chapter quest, and these chapter quests are very important as they are going to help you advance your development stage so that you can build more buildings for your village. As you can see right now we only have 1. Unigos has sent us to basically build our house and start making a life for ourselves. So that's what this is going to start working us towards, is building our first house so we have somewhere to sleep. So we need to chop down 5 trees. Now the trees, depending on what type of tree they are going to drop different amounts of logs. Your maple tree is going to drop 4, as you can see here. Whereas if I go over and I chop down a birch tree, I believe birch tree is only 2 logs. So if you're specifically going for logs, some trees are going to be better than others for getting your log count up. And you always need sticks. You will get sticks for chopping the tree up. You also get feathers, which aren't quite as helpful at the moment. You can sell them. They can be decent for getting you some early cash flow. Alright, I'm going to run over here to the road and drop these logs before I get too heavy. Just like any other survival game, in the beginning you get overweight very quickly. Alright, that gives us 4. We need 1 more. We'll cut this guy down. Now, personally, I like this spot. My very first playthrough, I actually built a little further down. I found this spot a little later on. These berries are going to be super helpful. And we can somewhat kind of build around them. And I think, at least I'm going to try to. And make them kind of look like they are a berry farm that we intended to be there. Now, I don't believe there's a way to directly remove the berries, but I have found that if you build stuff over them, they start to disappear. We'll probably find that later with this berry bush right here, as it's probably going to get replaced with a road in that area. Before you drop these down, we need to make a wooden hammer. Go, and then we'll throw these guys back down on the ground. And then we need to gather 32 straw. Now 32 straw is going to be enough for your first house, so you don't need to worry about grabbing extra. You can if you want to, but it can be a little tedious to pick. One great thing about Medieval Dynasty is as you start to get your village built up, a lot of this resource collection gets automated by your villagers, which is one of those fantastic things that I think all survival games or all of your builder/survival games should incorporate some way or another. Should have some kind of automation. Grinding for resources can be so tedious. So very tedious, especially if you're wanting to build something nice, maybe a decent size. It can be really problematic. I'm gonna go ahead and build a shovel here. way the trees work is if you leave the stump in place, it will grow back eventually. I'm not exactly sure on the amount of time it takes, but if you pull the stump up, it will go away permanently. So this guy is going to be in the way of what I'm wanting to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of him. And then a little trick I like to use here, all the buildings that you can put up will rotate, except for farms. They are on a very fixed grid. Maybe a little further over. Thinking I kind of want a road going right next to these. I think I pretty much should just lay that in the same spot. Oh, that's close enough. All right. So what I like to do, since the farm, as you can see, there's no rotate option at the bottom of the screen. Since the farm doesn't rotate, and I can be pretty OCD about my building and everything kind of lining up. So what I like to do is lay down a farm first, and then kind of line up next to it. And these stumps are going to get in the way. That's okay. And then use the farm to kind of line up your road. Something's in the way there. I'm not sure what it is. That looks about right. And then that way later on, which I don't want the farm here right now, but this way later on, when we have all of our houses and buildings and stuff lined up with this road, and we go to put in a farm next to the road, it will actually line up with the road and not have to be all catty corner and kind of messy. You don't have to do that. It's completely a personal thing. It is up to you. I like my stuff lined up. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm fighting with this road a little bit to the right, and then you can only be so close to your own road as well. So I'm trying to get as close to that road and my road as I can. And I believe that's rotated pretty straight with the road. Probably a little bit off, but not too bad. We'll go with that. It is close enough that it won't drive me crazy. So now what we need is we need to get 10 stone. So we'll gather up at 7. And you can just find those laying around in the bush. Later on, it'll be a little easier to... It didn't pick up that. It picked up a stick. A little later on, it's going to be easier to find those stone. You have vision that you can unlock skills for. Now, we just got a survival skill from picking. It's from surviving and gathering. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to stick my first 3 points in survival knowledge. And that's just... It gives you extra experience, and it's going to help you level that up much faster. Generally, I find that the extra XP percentage skills in most games has such a little significance that it's not worth it. But in Medieval Dynasty, it's definitely worth putting those points. You'll see a big difference. Alright, so the changes to the building that I was talking about. As you guys saw, I laid down kind of an imaged foundation, and then we put the stone in. We then started building the frame. The way it used to work is this whole frame was put down at one time, and it took the resources to do it. What was kind of sad about that, and I'm happy, the reason I'm happy they fixed it or changed it, is when you're OCD like me and you misplace a building, it can be a little difficult at first to kind of get the rotations in the view right. when you misplace the building, because you used resources and you currently don't have the skill that gives you resources back when you destroy the building, and then you have to go chop down some more trees again and get some more resources to build the frame back up, just because you kind of, placed it in the wrong place, which was super, super rough, especially if you're just putting down that first house and just didn't like where it was at. So they've changed it now that you place down kind of that foundation image that doesn't use any resources. And since it doesn't use any resources, it's much easier to move it around. And you don't feel like you're losing a bunch of collecting or a bunch of trees and having to cut down way more trees to do so. It's a big improvement. Quality life improvement. All right, I'm going to go ahead and gather the rest of these resources, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, I've got most of the house put together. It doesn't take very long. It's very quick to get all the resources. I am running out of water, as you can see on the bottom left, with the blue line that curves around the right-hand side of that circle. So there's no concept of dirty water versus clean water in this game. So just walk over to a river. If you're near a water source, just walk over there, grab you some water and drink. It's highly beneficial, and I highly suggest you build near a water source. It'll make things much easier for you. And then I wanted to show you guys something real quick. Now, when you place down the house, it's going to automatically put up wattle walls, no matter which house you put up, and or a wattle wall plan, I should say. And you can actually change the options of what you want to build the walls with. You can also change what those walls are. So let's say you don't like this window in front, you want it on side, or you just want to add some extra windows, whatever it may be. If you walk up to the wall and you hit edit, you can choose wall, wall with window, walls with door. And then when you go into those options, you can choose wattle wall, wooden wall, or stone wall. Now, I highly suggest just in your first house, just go ahead and build it as wattle. You're going to very quickly unlock bigger, better houses. So I wouldn't spend a lot of time worrying about upgrading your first house, because very quickly you'll be replacing it anyways. Another thing, if you guys take your shovel and you dig up these stumps because you don't want the trees to grow back, you will get a log for those. So that might help you get a couple extra logs if you don't want those trees. Now we're going to go ahead and for our next quest, we're going to build a rabbit trap. That's going to be in decorations, oddly enough. And you're just going to stick it down. Now, I don't believe placement matters. I'm going to stick it in this berry bush just because it makes sense to me that the rabbits would be hanging out in the berry bush. But honestly, I believe anywhere is fine and it will catch a rabbit. The other thing we need to do is we need to make a wooden spear and a stone knife. So if you go down to handcrafting, we got our stone knife. That's going to be 5 sticks and 2 stones. You're going to get super familiar with stone knives, believe me. You'll find out soon enough. And with the wooden spears, because we're going to need to do some hunting, I suggest making at least 3 or more. They take a log each, and you're going to want a few of those. Hunting with the wooden spear can be it can be interesting, to say the least. Now, you will start with some dried meat. They start you out with 20, so when your guy starts getting hungry, just go ahead and eat you some up. And while we're in here, we are going to go ahead and throw our spears on. And then because we're going to go hunting, because we need to go find a wild animal, I'm going to go ahead and drop things off in our brand new chest. Now the chest and I grabbed a few mushrooms trying to pick up sticks. The chest in the beginning house is really small. It's only 50 kg. So you're going to fill it up very quickly. We'll unlock very soon some extra technology right here, resource storage. That'll give us some extra storage. You should have already unlocked the well just building the first house. And we'll get to that resource storage very quickly. Now, what we're going to be looking for, what you want to get is you're going to be looking for boar, or you're going to be looking for deer. Rabbits are going to be your easy bet for getting some easy meat in your very beginning gameplay when you're using a spear. It just takes one hit with the spear and they go down. So they're really easy to hunt to get you some food if you need food. In this scenario, I need leather, and you will need leather unless you want to end up buying your bags. So it saves you some coin to go pick up some leather. That's why we're going to be looking for deer. Now, I know because I've found it a few different times in my playthroughs that sometimes a camp will spawn around this area somewhere. And it looks like in this playthrough, I'm not getting it. Man, I'm not getting any help in this one. That's okay. That is okay. If you do have the camp that's in this area, go loot it. You'll probably find a bow and some arrows, which will make hunting much, much easier. Now, I'm going to struggle at this a lot. I can tell you right now. Because I don't hunt with the spears very often anymore. If you hold your alt, it'll give you your vision and it'll help you find your spears, by the way. I think this guy that's running, it's not really running. Oh, it must be, I don't know, there's two up there running. I think it's this guy that's going a little slower that is the one we hit. We got a couple hits, which I think is slowed it down. There we go. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. It takes a lot of getting used to hunt with wooden spears, and because it takes so many hits, if you can get them in the head, if you can get a headshot on them, it'll do more damage, and it helps a lot with taking them down. But basically, you need to get a few spears in them. Now we're gonna need a couple, just 2 deer, to get us enough bags for what I suggest the starting farm should be. Oh, I missed. Okay, we're not gonna waste throwing spears at that. You kind of need that early headshot. Birds are really good for food beginning on too. They run so fast. That's the problem. If you get a good hit on them, it'll generally slow them down because they're kind of bleeding out. And I think eventually they will fall and die somewhere, but okay, I don't think he's the one we hit. Are you the one we hit? Doesn't appear so. You're running pretty quick. Alright, and both of our spears are, or all 3 of our spears are gone, so we're gonna cut down a maple tree real quick and make a few more. We need 2 deer to get enough leather to make the amount of bags that we need for our beginning farm. So I just need to get 1 more of these guys. Now you could go for a moose. I believe they drop leather as well. And I believe they drop more leather than the deer, if I'm not mistaken. But it takes a lot more to take them down also, so keep that in mind. Let's see if this is one of the guys that we've hit already. If you hold control down, you'll kind of crouch and sneak. And it'll help you get a little closer for that first headshot and some early shots on them. Spears. Okay. I forgot I had a 4th one. Could have thrown. We're just gonna kind of whittle them down. Eventually what happens if you're struggling with the wood spear like I'm doing right now, Eventually what happens is if you're throwing these spears at all of the deer, you're going to end up hitting the same one that you've already hit at some point, because they do kind of come back to their area, and you will take one out. I'm going to switch real quick over. Let's add some brightness so you guys can see. I did not mean to still be out here at night. That's okay. Nothing in the dark that's necessarily going to get you. I just need one more deer. Later on, your vision will help you with hunting. You can see like blood trails, things like that. You'll also be able to spot the animals better. I'm hoping this is going to finish off this guy. And this is one. Oh, well, I got to hit it first. Apparently not one that we've already hit. Not acting like it, at least. As the spears go rolling down the hill. Wow, I'm going to miss all those shots. There we go. All right, we finally got him. We finally got our second one that we need. Now, it's fairly easy, at least for me. I don't know what kind of... it may depend on your monitor and what settings. So it's fairly easy for me to see during the night. But I have noticed with recording, it gets so dark for you guys. That one looks like it's bleeding. There's a blood spot here. Did he just stop? Okay. We're good. I think I've lost all my, Oh, you're slow. We can get you. We'll chase you down. We can chase you down. We didn't need that one, but it wasn't moving. I wanted to finish it off. Alright, we're going to get back to the house and get back to doing some building. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and sleep. Actually, you know, while we're here, let's cook up some meat first, so I can show you guys how to do that. We'll set the campfire off here, and we are not going to roast quite that much because it'll take forever. Let's just do 10. It can take some time. Okay, I think we're just gonna do 5, just in the interest of time. We've got dry meat, but that is how you're going to cook up your meat there. We're gonna drop that in there. And so what you're gonna need is you're gonna need 6 leather, which should be 2 deer. Now, the next thing you want to do, we can go ahead and sleep. We'll go ahead and sleep so it makes... Oh, wow, now it's too bright. Let me turn that back down for you guys. Don't want to make a dark video, but also don't want to blind you guys. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a bunch of stone and I'm going to grab a bunch of sticks. I want right around... I want to be able to make right around 25 stone knives. It sounds a little crazy. It won't take very long to do it. But go ahead and get your resources. If you found the camp, you may not need to do this step. But if you haven't found the camp like me, you're going to want to make about 25 knives so that we can get our farm started. And we're going to use those to sell. So give me a few minutes to grab that stuff up, get those knives created, and we'll be right back. Alright, so it only took me, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that, to get enough to gather, to get all of our knives together. a nice little hint if you're starting to get overweight when you're collecting stuff, don't worry about bringing it back. Go ahead and make the stone knives. They're much lighter than the materials to make it, and it'll help you get some much needed space right off the bat. So now what we want to do is we want to grab some of this stuff that we dropped into our box earlier, which actually had some stones and sticks I could have used. So you definitely want to make sure you grab these oat rolls. If you have any feathers, that you can take those. You won't need them right away. If you have anything like a deer skull that you got from going after the deer, you can go ahead and take those. And we want to take our 25 knives. And we are going to head off to Gustovia. Well, we haven't quite made it to Gustovia yet. What I like to do when I'm going back and forth between places is I like to take different routes. So since I took the road going to where we placed up the village, I've been running through the woods. It's back to Gustovia, looking for camps, things of that nature. There is a clay pit here. It's just right in this area. And occasionally in this clay pit, you'll find a nice shovel and a few pieces of easy free clay, which clay's fairly easy. You just grab a shovel and dig it up. But a nice little finds there that'll make us some additional money, or you can hang on to what you find if you'd like, and you can do the dagger method yourself, or the stone knife, not dagger, the stone knife method yourself. You don't have to sell the stuff you find. It just makes it a little easier because a lot of that stuff can be worthwhile, especially if you find things like bronze or iron or copper. Those sell really, really well. Now, when you come into Gustovia, and you're going to find this in all your cities, you're going to see a campfire. And around the campfire, that's where the villagers are that you can recruit. If you hold down Alt, it'll tell you, for your Alt vision, it'll tell you their skills. This guy, as you can see, is a level 3 fisher. This guy is a level 1 everything and is absolutely horrible. So I'd stay away from the level 1s if you possibly can. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come and talk to Dobranega, and I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. She also can be funny at times, so I would highly suggest reading her quests if you haven't already. In this case, we're just finishing up the Unigos story. And then we want to talk to her again, and we want to sell her everything. So I'm going to sell her the shovel. I didn't realize clay wasn't worth anything, but it is very heavy, so I'm going to sell it to her anyways. Be really careful with, I'm going to wait with the L. I'm going to show you what you got to do with that. You want to be super careful. And then we want to make sure to sell our 25 knives. Now, that should get you right around, I think the knives themselves are about 600 coin, which is a good amount. Then with your oat rolls, that'll give you some more. So even if you didn't get a shovel, you should be fairly close to about 800 coin. Now, we're also going to sell this oat ale, but what we're going to do is make sure that we hang on to 2 of them. So she gives you 6. I'm going to sell 4 and then make sure I hang on to 2. And that puts us at about 1,200 coin, which is fantastic. Then I'm going to go find Unigos. Where are you, buddy? He's over here, apparently. I think he's hiding in a house. There you are. You're sweeping. What's up, buddy? And again, read the quests. They're I'm going to keep saying it. They're really funny. I've been playing Medieval Dynasty on stream on Thursday nights, and everybody gets a chuckle at some of the funny lines that are in these quests. Now, you are going to be a little fuzzy. Don't worry, it's not your graphics card going out. It's because you drank that oat ale with Unigos and you are a bit tipsy. Now, what we're gonna come and talk to Edwin.
Only the best products here.
Edwin's got some... Edwin is basically the reason we made the knives. Edwin is our reason. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy some flaxseed and some fertilizer. I'm going to start with 30. I can't remember if it's 30 or 40 that we can get. Let's take a look here. 500. Okay. So I think it's actually 40 that I can square away here. So we're going to grab 40. 30 to 40 is a good number. 40, of course, being the better of the two. If you got the early cart, if you got that early cart at the spawn, you don't need to buy a sickle. In my case, I didn't. So I need to grab a sickle also because it's going to be a little bit of time, a little bit of unlocks before we can make that. And you're going to want that for the next season.
Goodbye.
When your flax comes in. And it's just kind of easier to get it now while we're here instead of running back. And now we're just going to run back to the village. And so the first time I took the path, that's to look for carts. Second time I ran through the woods, that's to look for camps and tents. Now on our way back, I'm going to run the shore and I'm going to be looking for barrels. So kind of 3 different directions to find some of the easy stuff that drops around. Now this bridge right here doesn't have any. The bridges tend to have barrels or sacks by them, but not in this case. So we'll be right back when we get back to the village. Alright, so like I was saying, right before we got to this next bridge, we found some barrels. Hey, look, some free fertilizer. And that stuff can be very expensive, so... And some flour. Don't quite need that right now. But maybe later. And I haven't actually been checking across the water. Not too worried about that, because I don't want to cross. But we did find at least 2 barrels. So that just goes to show you want to take different paths back and forth so you can kind of find everything that is around. Now what we're going to do now that we're back is we're going to run in here real quick. We're going to grab 6 of our leather. And so we're going to go into the crafting menu and we're going to make 2 simple bags. The other thing we're going to need is we're going to need 2 logs and some sticks. Let's grab the sticks here. I think we're actually going to have a tree that I need to remove anyways. Where I want to throw this down. So we're going to move this guy out of the way. I'm going to dig up a stump because I'm not worried about keeping it there. And the stumps will get in the way of you building. Grab the logs real quick. And we're going to make... Oh. I only need 2. Don't need that many. And we're a bit overweight because of all the stuff. I don't want to be walking around super slow. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a few things. To get this under... And we're going to throw our bag on. We're going to throw our hoe on. And what you can do if you're still overweight like me is throw any extra stuff you have. Don't throw your fertilizer and flax in there. I'm going to throw the stone sickle in there. Don't need that right now. And now we're under. Great. Alright, so we're going to grab our trusty mallet back out, and now we're going to build what is really going to be our money maker. We're going to build a little farm area. So I was able to grab 40. So I'm going to do an 8x5 here. And I don't plan to permanently have this here, so I'm not too worried really about the way it looks For now, this is just to make some early money. So what you got to do is you got to take your wooden hoe out. You're going to plow. Then you're going to fertilize. And if yours isn't on fertilize, if you right click, go to field, your fertilizer's down here. Okay. Then after you fertilize, you're going to hoe it again to make plowed. And then we're going to go back in here. We're going to change this over to flax. And we're going to drop our flax. Now with the powers of editing, I'm going to go ahead and knock this field out. And there we have it. Now, if you guys have been, honestly, I think you'll unlock it even if you do a 30 farm. If you did a 40 farm, great. You should have some extra farming knowledge. Now, put that point in as soon as you get it. I didn't, just so I could show you guys. I was throwing the point in there. You should have unlocked some farming technology. You should already be up at your barn and starting to close into the hen house. The barn's going to be super important for next season. And if you guys did have to build the knives, you didn't find any of those nice camp tents that I showed you where they would be, you probably have quite a bit of survival knowledge. And like I was telling you guys, the first point, I throw everything into that survival knowledge to get it up. And then we'll start working from there on our other ones. So great start to the season. You're probably around the end of day 2, like I am, if you've been following along. And really, we're all set for the end of the season. The only thing you do want to make sure, if you decide to go a little crazy and make a larger farm, that's perfectly fine. Go for it. If you want to grind out some, maybe you had a lot more money because you found the camp, or maybe you wanted to grind out a lot more stone knives, that's perfectly fine. Go for it. The only thing I do highly suggest is that you at least leave yourself with at least 200 coin before you finish the season. There are random events that happen at season end, kind of in between your seasons. And one of those events can cost you 200 coin. And I missed out on it on my first playthrough. I didn't have the coin for it. And it can help you out quite a bit with some early bartering. So definitely make sure you have that 200 coin. But we're going to call that video here. I think we have a great start. We've got our money farm going. We've got our house up. Next time we'll start working on a bit more of the village. And yeah. We actually, let me check real quick. You probably have a rabbit in your trap. There you go. Nice little rabbit you guys can collect and reset. I think the trap works like 3 times. But there you go, guys. We got a great start. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you do like the video, do me a favor. Drop a like. Maybe hit a subscribe. Turn that notification bell on. That way you guys can be informed or notified when I drop additional videos, additional Let's Plays, additional walkthroughs. And I will have you guys another Medieval Dynasty video next week. I'll catch you then.